Hi, I'm Edward Pike. I'm here to help you connect your true self so you can live a life with more joy and freedom and abundance. And I want to talk today about why we avoid going deeper. So you might have noticed this in your life, in your work, in your practice. When we choose a path of self-development, of going within, of opening up our consciousness, and of really growing and even healing, we often encounter these kind of resistance plateaus, these times when we really don't want to do anything. We don't want to experience another workshop. We don't want to read another book. We don't want to go deeper. And this happens to all of us. I experience this myself and still do at times. Notice that I haven't meditated for a week or even 2 weeks, or I've been resisting my body for a few days. And of course this happens less and less, and there's more clarity and more commitment and consistency to the work and to how I'm living and breathing and feeling on a day-to-day basis. But there has been a real part of my life dancing with the yes to change, the yes to expansion, the yes to growing, and the part of me that doesn't want to, the part of me that wants to resist, that wants to stay small, that wants to stay stuck. And this happens to all of us, especially as we're opening up to a path of going within and journeying into the core of our being and being able to live from a more truthful, authentic and connected and balanced space, and in a space of alignment with our true self. And the path to that really is, like Joseph Campbell says, a hero's journey, meaning we have to go through different challenges, different trials. We have to go inside and face our inner demons, face all the blocks and the parts of us that are resisting actually connecting to these parts of ourselves and that are resisting both these demons but also the light that they contain and that we contain deep within. So if you know the hero's journey, we often go back into hiding. We encounter a bit of resistance, we go into hiding. We get a glimpse of something so big and so perhaps so beautiful, but also at times perhaps painful, and so we go back to hiding. Because the thing to understand is that we are very identified with a certain state of being, with a certain identity. So we are this complete and expansive and beautiful being, and we have access to so much wisdom and love and compassion. And a part of us knows that there's so much more to ourselves and to life. And yet because of our wounding, because of ancestral unconscious, because of the collective unconscious, because of old stories basically, we end up living in a small version of ourselves. And physically that shows up perhaps as, rather than being in the whole body, we live instead in just our head, but it also shows up in our lives. So instead of being in the adventure and the flow of life, we kind of keep ourselves boxed in and trapped. And so we become quite identified with this certain state of being. If you've ever read Joe Dispenza's work, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, he actually explains it, how we also get addicted chemically. So our body gets addicted to these emotions, to this certain state of being. So whenever we kind of try to go move outside of this box, then there's all these alarm bells come up. And that is why going deeper can be really hard, because there's a part of us that doesn't want to change. There's a part of us that wants to stay the same. There's a part of us that's like, no matter how much we feel in here longing for, joy, freedom, whatever it is, abundance, clarity, flow, connection. There's also a part of us that's like, no to this, that wants to disconnect, that wants to separate, that doesn't want to move forwards with it. And it's really important to acknowledge that part, because then we take the power away from it a bit. Because if we don't acknowledge that part of us and we just see ourselves as this idealized version that's just growing and expanding non-stop. And I've been a victim, not a victim, but I've been doing this. I've been interesting turn of words that came out. You see a bit of unconscious energy. I've been doing that. I've been responsible for doing that in my life as well, many times. So it's really not about blaming ourselves, judging ourselves, being guilty for when we experience this resistance. But it's about actually breathing it and knowing that if you're encountering resistance, you're actually going deeper. Yeah, you're actually getting yourself a bit uncomfortable outside of your box. I once read that resistance is like someone waving a massive flag and shouting, "This over here is where you'll find the biggest opportunity for growth and freedom. And also that saying, the biggest dragons hide the biggest treasures. So resistance can show up in many, many ways. It can show up really obviously in ourselves, as emotion, but it can also show up, and this is how powerful we actually are, as circumstances outside of us. We can manifest no time, no money, an immense workload. We can manifest many things that help us or support that part of us that doesn't want to change. So it's easy for us to go, oh no, I can't do this, I've got no time, or no, I can't do this, I've got no money right now. There's many things that can happen inside and outside of us to stop us going and journeying deeper within. So I can't really give you a recipe as to how to move forwards from this, but let's see what comes if I just tune into it. First thing is to breathe, and first thing is to catch and notice if you are resisting. We can run for days and weeks and months and even years unconsciously without noticing that actually we're resisting going deeper. So just perhaps watching this video or acknowledging where in your life you're resisting your truth. And you might not know where that truth is yet, but you might actually see that you're avoiding your body, avoiding your meditation practice, avoiding connecting with people, avoiding saying something to other people. Just noticing any avoidance patterns is the first step. Becoming aware is like the first step. And that will change a lot of things just by becoming aware, bring it to your conscious awareness. And then from that space, listening to your resistance. So resistance and these parts of us that are like wounded parts of ourselves, wounded parts of our ego, of the collective unconscious ego. And so it's really important to actually take some time to listen to that resistance. What is it saying? There's so much juice and so much light, and in Kabbalah they say this, in those blockages there's so much light that's ready to be released. It's exactly the same thing in our resistance. Behind the dragons hide the biggest treasures. So in that resistance, know that you're experiencing this because you're getting very close to more freedom, more expansion, more fulfillment. But just know that you might have to take a bit of time to breathe into it, to take time to explore it either on your own or with support, a friend. This was when a coaching or mentor or healer comes in handy. But it's really about feeling what's right for you as much as you can and listening to perhaps your body. Your body knows exactly how to work with this resistance. So breathing into it, giving yourself time and space to feel what you need to help yourself be with it, to hold it. They're often like children coming home, wounded children coming home, and often we're like, no, I don't want to see you, so we close the door to these children. But actually what we need to do is to, as much as you can, welcome this resistance, welcome this aspect, welcome this no, and see what it has to say. But, and this is the final thing, I think, notice how it affects your commitment to your path. Because often we go, oh, I'm experiencing resistance, then we go into hiding and we stay there. But it's really important to have a commitment to whatever it is, a commitment to yourself first and foremost, to actually doing the work. And if you're listening to this video, if we're interacting already, then I know that you are probably highly committed. But just notice how resistance can impact your sense of commitment to yourself. Because that's the main thing that's going to happen. It's going to kind of wither away and take away that sense of commitment and consistency that you might have created already. And as much as you can, through this process of acknowledging it, breathing it, and working into it, try and understand how it's affecting your commitment and your consistency, so you can try and find, or so you can bring more energy and bring more real focus back into where you want to go. Because the process is not ended if you're in resistance. There's a saying, I'm not sure, one of my teachers said this, Savannah, from my core class. I don't know where she found it, but she said, if it's not the end, it's always okay in the end. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end. So if it's not okay right now, if you're experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of resistance, anything, it's not the end. Okay, you're still halfway through that process. You're still in that process. So stay in that process. And I'm here if you need any support. Drop me a message, message me on social media, and we'll connect. And I'm here, anything, questions that you may have, and I'd love to hear from you. If you want to answer, even below the video, any comments about your own experience with resistance, and perhaps how your story about how you've managed to move through it and work with it. I would love to hear from you, and I know that the community and the tribe would also love to hear from you. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.